Did you know they used fluorescent lighting to stop kids from having ADHD tendencies?
90 days after, the regular cool white fluorescent tubes were replaced with the new type full spectrum fluorescent tubes with radiation.
They ran this experiment on a group of kids where like they tested to see what was the actual cause of ADHD, but they didn't want to find out really the cause, but how to like change it or stop it. So what they did is that they changed the lights inside the actual room and replaced it with fluorescent lighting, and turns out that light stopped the kids from like having ADHD.
There was a marked improvement noted, and the extremely hyperactive boy has voluntarily moved up to the front row.
Artificial lighting has an actual effect. Like, bro, these are artificial lights right now. That has an actual effect on your behavior.
Yo, what is up everyone, and welcome back for a brand new video. In today's video, we're going to be diving into some creepy and bizarre TikToks, some true glitch in the matrix TikToks right here. Thank you all for clicking this video, and I'm glad to be sharing it with you. So go ahead and grab your favorite snack and let's jump right back in.
You'd expect it's 100% cheese, right? Well, not so fast. Freshly grated Parmesan tends to clump up and stick together like this. So it turns out that many manufacturers add an additive called cellulose to keep Parmesan cheese from clumping up in a jar. It's supposed to make it a breeze to sprinkle on your food. So what is cellulose? It's a harmless additive made from wood pulp. While a small amount of cellulose in grated Parmesan cheese may be necessary, it's cheap filler. So we wondered, is too much cellulose being slipped into your cheese without you knowing?
Rihanna is spotted here with Michelle Lamy, and just pay very close attention to how they treat this woman. Shortly after, this is her backstage of A$AP Rocky, and this woman has deep connections with every single celebrity. I mean, many pictures and videos of her and Usher, Kim Kardashian, Migos, Kanye West, A$AP Rocky, whatever, you name it, almost every single celebrity. But who is this woman? If you look her up, it says she's a fashion designer, filmmaker, producer, whatever. But she's also married to Rick Owens, and now we're getting warmer. If you know anything about Rick Owens, he's known as the Dark Lord of fashion. Now, if this woman is married to the Lord of Darkness when it comes to fashion, and she's a fashion designer, this is literally her wearing his head, you start wondering, what is she doing with all these artists? Surely it can't be all fashion, right? And then you see pictures of her with Marina Abramovich, which is outspoken for her art, but also her spirit cooking.
I got so caught up in the way he said Usher, I almost forgot to pay attention to what else he said after. But yeah, Michelle Lamy, all you gotta do is look at her and you can tell she's no good. Eyes are the reflection of the soul.
Like, we used to joke as kids about living in a video game. We actually are, I think.
I think that we live in a simulation, and I think that numerology are the codes to that simulation. There's not a day that goes by where you're not interacting with math and numbers, whether that's like your bank account or, you know, you're on a computer and that's made up of coding. Yep. Like, everything is based on numbers. And so when you can understand frequencies, numbers, energy, it just opens up your whole world. Like, a lot of people I've worked with, they always say like they can't explain it, but once they started working with numerology, it was almost like this wake up matrix moment.
Yeah.
Like, it's so strange, and all of a sudden you see it.
Did you guys not see what this woman just did? Something I've been talking about for so long. And people are starting to awaken and realize more than ever about these celebrities.
Oh,
Look at this.
I'm 22 and I've just sprayed 2 private jets orange. While people are starving, the elite and the rich fly thousands and thousands of feet in the air above us all. Billionaires are not untouchable.
This woman painted Taylor Swift jets orange while they live in lavishly flying high. People in the world are suffering. Rent, tornadoes, hurricanes, while they living the best life, getting the right treatment for their health, getting taken care of, being monitored, clean water, good grass, clean air.
Love to see people finally waking up, but yeah, I'm sure she went to jail that day, especially with it being Taylor Swift. Where was all the security at though? That's what I want to know.
This is probably the dumbest thing I've ever heard, and it's being taken very seriously. It's this architect firm in New York, and they're calling it the Elma Tower. It's going to be the world's tallest skyscraper that is not stuck to the ground. They're talking, this is a real thing.
I can't understand what you're saying.
The pitch is to build it to where it's connected to an asteroid that is circling Earth, where the skyscraper basically does a figure 8 over the United States and South America every day.
That sounds so cool.
It's a legit project.
Please do it.
There's no way that can happen.
No.
There's too many airspace laws.
That would be so fun, though.
Dude, come on. We can't get clean water in Flint, Michigan, but we're talking about building a skyscraper that's attached to an asteroid.
Like, look at the size of that thing. Good grief. Could you imagine being alone out in sea on a boat and this thing just pops out like that? I would have a straight up heart attack.
Look, it's a 270-foot dragon wrapped around one of the country's most iconic skyscrapers, the Empire State Building right here in New York City. So what is it doing there? Craig, word is it was installed by the same aliens who put that monolith.
You beat me to
Yes, in Los Angeles. Actually, it's all part of the new season of HBO's Game of Thrones prequel, House of the Dragon. Empire State Building's also hosting a Game of Thrones experience on the 80th floor, along with a chance to sit on the famous Iron Throne.
What aliens are a fan of the show?
Right.
And they install the monolith. And then the dragon. Okay. It's all connected.
It always seems like there's something behind what they do hidden in plain sight. But yeah, I believe this is for that Game of Thrones spinoff, House of Dragons. Never even heard of the show myself, but...
All this news about Drake is just a distraction from something they don't want you to see. You see this lady right here? They've been trying to silence her. Listen to what she has to say.
We have a lung supportive ally here that helps lung tissue stay well and healthy, also helps the lung to repair after damage, after an illness, after being in a smoggy, smoky situation, also used during the illness, bronchitis, laryngitis, coughing, also supportive for asthma. So it's used in situations with asthma to increase lung health.
Watch that video. She shows you a homemade concoction that's going to remedy any of those problems she addressed in that clip. It's called Mullen, and if you have asthma, bronchitis, COPD, or any other type of respiratory issue, like she said, you should be taking it. Think for a second, how many millions, if not billions of dollars are generated every year selling you over-the-counter medications for all of these problems? If you do want to try Mullen, here's what you do. You can forage for it, harvest it, dry it out, turn it into a tea, or if that's too much work for you, get it like this.
Man, I remember Dr. CB talking about this years ago, and given how bad pollen has been the past few years, I would say stock up.
Do you understand the purpose of professional sports? It's a psychological anesthesia to lull you into a state of asleepness so that you do not feel the pain of them extracting all of the beauty from your future, why it exists. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just going to ask you the question. Does it make sense to be cheering for people who don't know you, to win a game that doesn't matter, and you can't pay your light bill? You can't educate your children the way you desire to. You can't take a family vacation, but you're jumping up and down because a full-grown man ran over another full-grown man over a pigskin filled with air. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to watch a movie. You're broke and you're watching a movie. You're broke and you're watching a movie. I want you to feel the pain of that statement. You're watching people who are rich pretend to be people who don't exist to distract you from intention in your life, from making your life better for generations, your family's life better for generations.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of things in my lifetime, but fish falling from the sky, now that's just wild.
There's an active serial killing group in Austin, Texas. I've been seeing videos all over my For You page talking about the Smile Murders, and I'm gonna be honest, this is absolutely terrifying. From what I understand, the Smile Murders are either a group of people or a singular person leaving this tagline after unaliving someone. This just looks like a normal takeout bag near the lake sitting on a tree. Well, what was found underneath it is absolutely terrifying. It is, yes, an unalived person near the lakeside. Now, the two craziest parts to me is the target is younger men. The second part is that there's been 12 bodies found since 2022 at Lady Bird Lake, and alone this year there's been already 3. You're probably thinking to yourself, Chris, well, can you go swimming in Lady Bird Hummingbird Lake, are they drowning? Because that's been the cause of death of most of these people. No, you can't. There's poisonous algae in there, meaning that if you go swimming in there, you're probably cooked. Now, if you don't believe me, this is the timeline in the area that people are found. On top of that, it seems like people are mostly coming from Rainer Street, which from what I've heard and what I understand is the hotspot in Austin, where they have all the bars and it's just like a massive strip. This has been a conspiracy for a long time that there's a group of people unaliving others, but not only in Austin. There's been things in Manchester, there's been things in Boston. A lot of people are thinking that it's just an organized group, unaliving people and leaving this smiley tagline.
I have no idea how people do not see it. There is something very, very, very massive going on in the United States. Every single day, there are mass shootings with massive casualties. Every day. I've seen it every day for the last 2 or 3 weeks. I can't get into specifics, but I will tell you, there's something wrong with the human brain. The human brain is not acting right. We just had something goes on a rampage spraying into a group of children at a water park in Michigan. 10 people were shot and 2 of those were children. The same exact day we had a mass shooting in Texas. At the same exact time, houses are being set on fire and propane tanks are exploding. Maine. What do you know? Another house explosion in Kansas the same exact day. Massive shooting in Illinois. This is along with bomb threats all over the country. Yo, I could go on and on and on. Point being, every single day in the United States, we are having mass shootings, mass stabbings, and all sorts of other stuff.
Really feels like we're in some dark times, but hey, try to stay positive and keep your head up out there. You know, they do say wickedness will increase in the last days. Not saying that we're quite there yet, though.
Guys, there's a giant woodpecker right there. Look at how big it is. It's a woodpecker.
Yeah, that's not a woodpecker, that's a wood pounder right there. But since when have woodpeckers ever been this large?
There is a lot of celebrities who really tried to fake growing up poor. In that documentary, Beckham, Victoria claimed that she grew up a very middle class until her husband David made her admit that her dad used to drive her to school in a Rolls Royce.
I am being honest.
Ice Cube was not straight out of Compton. His parents both had stable jobs at UCLA, and his high school years were split between a prep school and a charter school. And he has a degree in architectural drafting. Rapper Cam even called him out on a diss track saying, "You ain't never gang banged in your life." Similarly, Kid Rock was not straight out of the trailer either. His parents were rich, and he grew up on an estate in suburban Michigan that had a guest house, apple orchard, horse stables, and private tennis courts. Drake likes to say that he started from the bottom. We know that's not true. He actually grew up in a very wealthy neighborhood and became a TV star in 6th grade when he was cast in Degrassi. Still, he claims Canadian TV didn't pay much. Quote, "We were very poor." Taylor Swift, in her song, "I Bet You Think About Me," the lyrics go,
I was raised on a farm, no it wasn't a mansion.
What she neglects to mention is that it was on a 15-acre farm, which was ran as a hobby by her father.
Coming from someone who actually grew up poor, I don't understand why celebs think it's cool. Growing up as a kid, I tried with everything I had to hide being poor, so yeah, I really don't get it.
You guys hear about those whales that were beached and they were like frantically swimming and they were trying to go up onto the beach, and all the people that were witnessing it said that the whales were screaming.
What were they scared of?
I don't know, but the lady, she was shook and she's like, I have not been able to sleep. Yeah.
That sounds terrifying. Megalodon?
Maybe.
Aliens? Who knows?
Or
That's
is it
weird.
that pulse thing coming through the ocean? These whales were acting terrified.
Where was this at?
Ocean.
That's gotta be one of the most wildest fish I've ever seen, but yeah, I wouldn't say it's worth $250K though.
A group of researchers say they've identified at least 7 stars that might be surrounded by super advanced alien megastructures known as Dyson Spheres. Yes, I said alien structures, and I know what you're thinking, but just stay with me here, because the basic idea was this. Superior intelligent life might build big structures around their home stars or planets as a way to harness or reuse that energy. A 1960s physicist who came up with this idea, Freeman Dyson, argued that if these structures existed, there'd be so much energy that human scientists on Earth could probably spot it because it would emit a lot of infrared radiation. So in this new study, researchers say they found 7 sources glowing in the infrared, those are their words, but couldn't find an obvious explanation for why these sources are glowing so much, which could mean they're Dyson spheres or something else entirely.
Yeah, this is definitely wild. These things look exactly like how the Bible describes angels looking, so the 7 angels, 7 trumpets, definitely something to think about.
So Usher Raymond is now another celebrity who is infected with the Vril. I would love to hear if you guys can see it in the pictures as well, or if it's something that only I could see. Because for the longest time, it really was only something I could see, and I didn't know how to identify this creature, this baby lizard thing that I see in celebrities when I do soul readings of them. So if you guys are new here and you have no idea what the Vril is basically a baby alien that comes from the underground. These are baby reptilians that will infect and implant themselves in a human vessel to basically take over their body and have full control over the human vessel. I see this quite often in celebrities that are A-list celebrities, people like Ariana Grande. I've seen this quite a few times. I've also seen this once in my waking life with somebody that I knew, but there was a reason this person got infected with the Vril. They don't pick just random people. These are people that have a lot of influence, political influence, or they're celebrities, or they have a lot of power.
Believe it or not, this is a real monkey in Monkey World Sanctuary in England. Her name is Zipette, and even zookeepers have commented that she looks nothing like the other monkeys there. It's her eyes. They're almost humanoid. She's very expressive, and when she looks at you, it's like there's intelligence there that she understands. Take a look at this video. It's almost like the vibes from Planet of the Apes. Tell me what you think.
Oh, this kind of breaks my heart. Like, you can just see the sadness in her eyes. This is why I never go to zoos anymore. These animals deserve to be free and left alone.
So, we just seen this. Thought we'd share it with you guys. I've never seen anything like this in my life.
It's a real vivid circle rainbow around the sun, but then there's a second rainbow.
Yeah.
The video's probably not going to do it quite justice, but it's vivid, beautiful colors.
We're in Oregon, and it's Friday, June 13th at like 1:30 in the afternoon. But
that's a trip.
Yeah. Phenomenal.
Not too sure what this is called, maybe a double sundog, but either way, it's gorgeous. I think it's also a sign that there's a bad rainstorm coming soon, I'm pretty sure.
Rosa Parks is a goddamn fraud, and Democrats played you once again. The famous picture everybody wants to remember. But how could you guys forget her husband had a goddamn car? Oh, and not even to mention that 9 months before the Rosa Parks things happened.
And in 1955, I refused to give up my seat to a white passenger on the bus in Montgomery, Alabama. 9 months before Rosa Parks. I was 15 years old. And the rule and the segregation that a white person had to sit in front of you and you sit behind them. And so the bus driver asked me to get up. I was a child. It's not constitutional right, so I'm not gonna move.
Not sure how much of this is real or not, but knowledge is definitely true power. The media always latches on to what sells the agenda. Our own government has lied to us repeatedly.
Hey guys, check out this amazing video of what looks like some type of interdimensional extraterrestrial alien caught on video camera. This video is coming straight out of Long Island, New York, in the Brentwood area. A woman was coming home from work when suddenly she saw some orbs outside of her home. The orb sighting happened around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Later on that night, she started seeing more orbs around 9:30. From 9:30 to 11 o'clock, things suddenly took a sharp turn, and her phone started sending her notifications from her Ring doorbell camera.
Jack Black is one of the evilest pieces of crap to ever sell their soul. Let me show you why. So you might have seen the video where he had Jack Black endorsing Biden while saluting the devil. Well, Jack Black had humble and seemingly innocent beginnings, right? Well, Jack Black is the reason many teenagers fell into devil worship in the 2000s. You think I'm kidding? I watched it happen. So this band named Tenacious D came out that was Kyle and Jack Black. And it was basically about them selling their soul to the devil. But these guys made tons of music. This was on an album cover, I believe. And in the music, it's so demonic, and there's spells all throughout it that I can't even show you guys. It was literally like the first mainstream Satan worshipping thing to really come out in the 2000s. Besides the obvious stuff like the Church of Satan. Before that time, all the Satan worship happening in the industry was subliminal. Here's Jack Black, Kyle, and Dave Grohl making a pentagram with their fingers. And don't be confused, Jack Black knows exactly what his job is, and his job is to lead people to hell. Even his name, what is the origin of the meaning of Jack? God is gracious. Jack, God is gracious. Black, what's black? The absence of light. It is the devil.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of Jack Black and his movies growing up, but yeah, you can't really deny all that satanic symbolism. Hopefully this man has found his way back to the good side by now, because Tenacious D was like 20 years ago.
The Grand Canyon is not just an American sightseeing location. There are strange and dark secrets that lie within. Some have even encountered a gateway to a hidden world. In 1909, the Arizona Gazette published an article about an expedition funded by the Smithsonian. This expedition was led by a man named G.E. Kincaid, and he discovered an ancient underground city within the Grand Canyon. But here is where it gets interesting. This city was filled with artifacts from ancient Egypt, hieroglyphs, statues, and even a pyramid. How did ancient Egyptian relics end up in Arizona over 5,000 years ago? Is it possible that they had access to flight? But it gets even stranger. The Smithsonian seized all the artifacts and shut down any further exploration, which led to 90% of the Grand Canyon being restricted till this day. The canyon is home to numerous hidden caves and tunnels, many holding ancient treasures and technologies. Many adventurers used to report seeing strange lights and sounds coming from these depths. The Hopi tribe, a tribe native to the region, speak of sacred underground cities known as the Sipapu. These cities are believed to be gateways to the underworld, holding powerful energies that should never be disturbed. All this makes us wonder, what else is hiding in the Grand Canyon?
An insane article just dropped on Yahoo Sports that Michael Jordan's stats in the '88 season were juiced. The cliff notes, he won Defensive Player of the Year, but his steals and block numbers were doubled at home what they were on the road. He was getting some major home cooking. Per game, averaged 3.2 steals and 1.6 blocks. In Chicago with his home scorekeepers, that was 4 steals and 2.1 blocks at home versus on the road, 2.1 steals and 1.2 blocks. Broken out into steals and blocks per 36 minutes, that difference of 182% has never even come close to being touched. Look at the gap, 94 steals on the road, 165 at home. What a gap. He was getting more favoritism than any other. Tom Haberstroh, the writer of this article, finds 6 full games he's going to fact check. He found that the turnover numbers from one team didn't line up with the steals numbers that would be possible. In the Hawks game, they had 10 turnovers. The Bulls tallied 10 steals. That's sketch. It's worse. In the Detroit game, Chicago had 8 steals, but Detroit only had 6 live ball turnovers. This is impossible. His inner circle got with the scorekeepers. They juiced his numbers. Jordan went on to win Defensive Player of the Year, and to this date, still the only player to win Defensive Player of the Year and the scoring title in the same season.
Welcome to the rabbit hole. Who's ready for another list? Go to Google, DuckDuckGo, whatever you choose to, type in Donald Trump, 650 planes, Vatican, gold. Look up who owns and who owned Four Seasons, which is at the top of the Mandalay Bay. You remember that place, right? The Las Vegas shooting? After you look up who owns it, look up Ben Solomon, November 2017, which was only a few weeks after the shooting. Watch who got arrested. Now go look up Finger Lakes trafficking. Hunter Biden liked it so much he put it on his back. Jim Carrey made a joke about being in the Finger Lakes back when he was on that episode of The Office. That's kind of the only reason I ever heard of the Finger Lakes, to be honest with you.
You ever heard of the Catacombs?
Oh yeah, where there's all the bones and stuff?
We spent the night under there.
I'm Indiana Jerome.
Did you see the dead bodies or not? There's 6 million dead bodies on there. We did an illegal tour. It's illegal because like it's so easy to get lost on there. It's 200 miles. Like a dude in like the 40s, he went down there. His light broke. He couldn't find his way back. Some people came a couple weeks later and they found his body and he was only like 10 meters away from where he needed to get out.
How far is 10 meters?
What's that like? I think that's like 80 feet. The lady that does the official tour, she was saying how like the official part is the haunted part. If you turn your lights off, I can put my hands right here. Your eyes don't adjust, there's no light.
That's not okay.
Yeah, with all the videos and movies we got out there talking about how bad the catacombs are, you would think people would stay far away, but yeah, unfortunately they don't. Alright, my good people, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. Really hope you guys enjoyed this one, and if you did, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Truly thank you guys so much for all that support. Alright, and one last thing, but don't forget to let me know all your thoughts about this one down there in that comment section.